feel like the body searches that we've all gone through coming here on these different airplanes. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this ongoing series of explorations and dialogues and conversations, because that's really all that they are. We've tried more than anything else to keep our sessions in a search mode, because somehow the group, as it has coalesced, has felt that what we've inherited in terms of our urban built environment is really something that is less than to be desired. And there are so many signs that some alternative means and ways of looking and acting are necessary in order to preserve really the human species on this planet Earth. I'm always reminded by Lucan's admonition about what great architecture should be, and paraphrasing him, he said that great architecture begins with the unmeasurable, a vision of the unmeasurable, realized through the measurable, through design and construction. But ultimate test is if it, again, seeks and reaches the unmeasurable once you have perceived and walked through it. So I don't know how much of the buildings and of the cities that we are working and living in reach that element of the unmeasurable, the uplifting in us anymore. Certainly they are there. Since we're about 7 billion people now, moving to 9 billion in the next 30 to 50 years, and more or less 50% of us live in urban centers, and we will be probably 80% urbanized by that time. We'll probably be building as many new cities and environments as has ever existed in human history. Mm-hmm. So really, I mean, to be honest with you, that's just one generation away when we'll be having to deal with this. And if by this time we're not adequately preparing our architects, our citizens, our municipalities for an alternative approach and attitude to where we would live and play and live out our lives, then I think it'll be too late. So with this as a drive, we began about 2 years ago, given the task by our ACS group to do something with regards to urbanism and spirituality. We said, why don't we try to partner with Harvard University to find where they are in this subject, and perhaps we ourselves, always wanting to seek to expand our own capability and visions, we were very happy to find this wonderful gentleman who will speak with us tonight, and I don't think he is yet here in this session, and that's Professor Harvey Cox. And so I went to Harvey, whom I did not know, but I was introduced to him by Antonio, and Antonio was introduced to me by another young man at Harvard with whom we had researched the anthropology of the Middle East, and particularly the Persian Gulf. So I came to speak to Harvey about this quest. How can we deal with the idea of spirituality in our urban setting? And as you know, Harvey had written 30-some years ago, actually probably maybe more, maybe 40 years ago, almost 50 years ago, to be honest with you, that wonderful book called The Secular City. And ever since then, he's been dealing with this idea, how can you find spirituality in this material world? With Harvey's help, we got the two parts of it going, urbanism and architecture, and spirituality. And then we felt that there was a piece of science that could enhance this work. And we've been researching recently at Harvard with the School of Public Health. And there's a wonderful gentleman who you'll meet tomorrow, Professor Jack Spengler from the School of Public Health. And Jack was very interested. And so he said that the only way I'll get involved is if you add to the name well-being. And of course, that fit right in, and we liked it very much. So it became urbanism, spirituality, and well-being. These people really have been the base. Since Harvey is an emeritus at the Divinity School, Professor Ahmad Ragab, who had a new chair, young man, new chair on religion and science. So he was very interested. And so that really began to form this group. And Tom and I, and really the rest of the ACS group, have been helping to mature this work. Our hope has been that we would address, as you have seen in the structure of the symposia, a look at where have we been? What are some of the precedents to places of well-being and of transcendence in the urban context? What has been their characteristic? And I hope that those of you who will be presenting related to that topic will educate and expand our knowledge about that, because truly, with having such a wonderful group from around the world, you're going to be hearing examples of how in each of these great ancient societies there have been these magical cosmogonic cities. I think that the aspect would be, it's quite easy to take our present and to denigrate it and to look down on it, but yet it is a magnificent feat that 7 billion people are living on this earth, and at some points experiencing unbelievable levels of beauty, and at the same time wasting away some of this beauty and creating some of the greatest poverty and ugliness that exists. But we really don't know its full measure, and so I hope those who address will keep these two aspects, because as Erik Erikson, the noted psychologist, has said to us, really you have the two extremes of everything. You have the dark and the light, you have the good and the bad, you have the transcendent and the less transcendent. So how can we keep these two in perspective? Because our world, as we believe, if we go back to Lucan, made of the measurable and the unmeasurable. So let's keep the balance of these two. Let's see where we find the light and speak about it today. Now, obviously, all this should be in preparation for strategies and thoughts about the future, because we're not obviously stargazers or tea leaf readers, so we don't know what the future would be, but there must be trends. There must be positive trends, and maybe also negative trends to guard against. So the idea of past, present, future. So in conclusion, what we really hope to do at the session ends on, really for us, it ends on Sunday, when we will reconvene, and for those of you who could stay until Sunday noon, we want to find what did we learn from this symposia, and what are some of the next steps, what are the future sort of visions that we've heard. And one idea came, as all interesting ideas develop. We had to black out this back wall because otherwise there would be too much light, you couldn't see the presentation. But when we were putting up this great big black piece of paper, and we were drawing lines with colored pencil to see the line where we're cutting, we said to ourselves, wouldn't it be wonderful if wonderful artists like that, Philip, and all of us as artists, would write on this black board in time, what did we learn about the past, the present, the future, and it would be like a spontaneous, who was that mad movie Alex Guinness did where they painted on the wall? So I love for you to think, but don't do it yet, that this black belongs to all of you as a great creation. So that's how I like to end. And thank you so much all for coming. You're most welcome. We're really energized by your presence and look forward to a wonderful symposium together. And please, by the way, forgive all the, how can I say, the housekeeping things that may not work right. And we thanked everyone who helps to clean up things. We're still figuring out how to feed everybody on Saturday, things like that. And the vans that take you here and all those things that Tom has been really working on very hard. Be flexible because this really is a shoestring activity. We've done it through, as you know, you've come here by yourself. This is your offering of your own self for your own self-growth, and then communally for a group. So it's really a pilgrimage toward self-understanding. Thank you.